So this HIV scientist arrives in Tijuana's red light district. And he's outside this bar, there's a cordon of police. He walks in, there's a circle of mercenaries with automatic weapons, and right in the middle of the circle is a table with these bar owners who may or may not be Cartel. And he has to give a scientific presentation to them to convince them to do HIV prevention work among women in the sex trade, which they control. So he gives this scientific presentation, they look at him and they say, well, what's in it for us? And he realizes these guys are businessmen. He has to talk to them like businessmen. And he says, if I do my work, you'll make more money. I'm Dan Werb. I'm an epidemiologist and writer, and I'm working on a book about the HIV epidemic in Tijuana. And 2 years ago, I started researching the epidemic in Tijuana. And along with other people at the University of California, San Diego, I've been studying and collecting data that we then analyze statistically. But to really understand the epidemic, which I wanted to do, I felt like I needed to go deeper in and understand the individual stories of people. And from those individual stories, work out and create a broader understanding of what's motivating the epidemic. And so the work that I've been doing now is to interview people in the sex trade, people who are injecting drugs, police officers, anyone I can, payeros, the guys who bring people across the border, and figure out how they're all implicated in the epidemic and how the epidemic is affecting their lives. And that's what I'm trying to do with this book. And as a scientist, it's been kind of tricky because I'm used to looking at statistics and I'm used to looking at kind of risks and probabilities in a really objective way. And that's the opposite in some ways of honing in on these individual stories. To make people truly understand the situation, there's got to be a warmth to the narrative, there's got to be emotion, and it's got to be grounded in individual choices. It starts with their individual situation and it builds out. So then you figure out, you see what their environment is like. And from that, you see what the entire city is like. And then from that, you see how the city is impacted by international trends that are totally out of control. So I wanted to write this book because, I'm passionate about it, and I think it's a gripping narrative, and the stories of these people are so fascinating, and the characters are really incredible people. Cartel members, sex workers, people injecting drugs in the canal, police officers, both corrupt ones and clean ones, HIV scientists, and deportees from America. But it's also, in a way, it's just an extension of my scientific work. It's going to help efforts that, scientists are undertaking to prevent the spread of HIV elsewhere.